All right. Hi, Laetitia. It's so nice to have you on the podcast today.
Thank you, Bella. I'm really happy to be with you and for us to connect again after some time. It's so nice. Thank you.
Yes. Now, everybody, this woman has the most amazing energy, and she's someone that you want to be around a lot and as much as possible. It's one of the reasons I have her on today, and it's one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you today, Laetitia, about feminine energy, because I know this is something that is really a specialty for you. And while I have a great understanding of it, and I include it in my coaching and in my upcoming course, I know that you have so much more value to add on this area. So I know that my listeners will get a huge amount of value out of this today.
Thank
So
you.
how about you introduce yourself before we get on to talking about feminine energy today?
Thank you so much. Thank you, Bella, for your kind words. It means a lot. So I'm originally from France, as you can notice with my accent. I hope your listener will enjoy this French accent and
I do, so that's all that matters now.
and understand everything that I have to share. So I'm originally from France. I moved to Australia about 7 years ago. I now live in Bondi Beach with my family, my husband and my two young girls, who are 4.5 and 2.5. And really, this divine energy and mixing the strategic and the embodiment and having a real holistic approach to things is not something that I made up in the past 2 weeks or 2 months. It's something that I've been brought up with. I grew up in a very spiritual household and really been introduced to meditation and EFT and the power of blending your divine feminine energy and your divine masculine energy to create, yourself as a whole since my early childhood. So I'm very grateful for that. And today I bring that into my business, where I help soul-led business owner and leader to really align what they think with who they are and with what they do. So really the 3 circle in my business called Essential Shift is really about aligning those 3 bubbles to really step into your soul and your own mission to bring your gift to the world. So this is what I do.
Excellent. And I know you're doing great things, which is why I've got you on here as well. So obviously, I'm all about the fertility journey. So I really wanted to detail today kind of what feminine energy and masculine energy actually is. Let's start at the basics so we get a baseline here of what we're actually talking about.
Yeah, definitely. Very good question. So when we speak about divine masculine, we really speak about the yang energy, which you need to take action, to really go, 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 and in your fertility journey, it may be, okay, I really need to take, this test, I need to, do this, I need to go and see this specialist, I need to do, it's like the doing part of your fertility journey. If I use this as an example when I'm explaining. So the yang is really, you are in action, you are doing something, you are creating something. The divine feminine energy is where you're surrendering, you're trusting, you're connecting to your intuition. It may be through, the work that you do with the beautiful women that you help in their journey, which is guiding them through a meditation, through a visualization, tapping into their own, knowledge within themselves, rather than looking outside and doing things. It's about being and being with yourself and connecting with your inner wisdom and, this allowing and knowing that you have within you. And male and female have divine masculine and divine feminine energy. The divine feminine energy is often reflected as a yin energy, and we all have this yin and yang energy. Same with the moon has a yin and yang energy. It's really important for you to embrace both of them. And in our society, we tend to be a lot on the yang energy, going, doing, getting this done, having a to-do list, whereas we need to allow space for the being, the resting, the nourishing, the joy, the inspiration. It's really important. So this is why it's not one without the other. It's really both of them going in balance. And this will really, help anyone, not just the woman in their fertility journey, but the male and the female in whatever journey of transformation they are going through, to have those two in balance within themselves.
Yeah, see, I love that, because I think that, when we think of ourselves as women, you go, oh, I have to just be feminine, just live in feminine energy. And I'm so living in this masculine world at the moment, and I'm just all masculine. I don't even know what feminine is, but it's not about not having masculine energy at times either, but it's about having balance with the feminine. Is it though a 50-50 split, or as a woman, should we spend more time in the feminine energy?
Oh, that's a very good question. I think it's all about finding your own balance. So based on your own constitution, Ayurveda constitution, I work a lot with Ayurveda as well, where we call the Shakti and the Shiva in terms of divine feminine and divine masculine energy. So it always depends on your own, energy, which elements you connect the most with, who are you basically, and then your balance may be 70-30, maybe 50-50, maybe 60-40. It really depends what you need. And also in human design, you have different design, and depending on your design, for instance, if you're a projector, you probably need more time to recharge, to not do anything, and less time in the doing part of it. So it really depends on your design as well. So many things come into place for you to find your own balance, and it's all about trial and error. And when you're tired, just allows that tiredness to come and rest and lay down, and allows this divine feminine to come through, so that you can take then inspired action, which is a way I love to say you have perfectly blended the divine masculine and the divine feminine when you take in action, which is inspired. It's like, I got an idea. This idea is your divine feminine download, guidance, trusting, connecting with your intuition. And then you take this action, and then it's an inspired action. It's coming from something that is within you, rather than, oh, someone told me to do that, so now I'm doing it. No, whatever someone told you, sit with it, connect with your, inner self, wisdom, goddess, Shakti, divine feminine energy, whatever connect with you when I'm talking, do that, and then be like, yeah, it's aligned. I'm going to take this action. And then it's an inspired, aligned action, something that really comes for you and from you. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. And I love that, because it's like, I think a lot when people teach about feminine energy and being more feminine and being more open and receptive, because definitely in the fertility game, it is about being receptive and being open to receiving
to receive
this baby. But it's also not about not taking action. It's not just sitting there and going, it's all going to come to me. I'm open. Exactly. Just now what? It's also about balancing that with the doing. Yes. But you don't want to have like that whole checklist. Tick, yes, I've done my meditation. Yes, I've done this, just working through it in kind of a cerebral way. You want to actually connect with yourself and your intuition of like, yes, this meditation feels right for me now. Yes. This IVF procedure feels right for me now. No, conceiving naturally feels right for me, and really sitting with it and listening with your intuition, but then taking the action that you need to, whether that's going to investigate IVF doctors or, having sex with your husband or whatever it is. That it's like, that's the action part, and that's your masculine in that. How do you know if you're unbalanced? Without coming to you and having the whole rundown, how can you actually know if you're unbalanced?
So it's a very good question. So there is way to know within your body first. So, if you feel you're really stronger on one side than the other, just wonder what's happening. Am I overusing this side and underusing the other side? Really within your body, you will know which side is stronger in your body. Which side are you more often, relying upon or, going upon? I know I'm a left-handed person. I I really like my left side, which is beautiful because it's a divine feminine as well. But it's just sometimes I need to go more into my right side, and I need to embrace more, you know, the kind of divine masculine action and so on. So you can start with noticing within your body if you feel any balance or imbalance. For instance, I had a client yesterday telling me that she felt in her hips, sorry, she was like
No,
always
I like
having her,
ips. I like ips.
she was having her left hips always tightened, always blocked, always, you know, very interesting. What does it say about you? Being very curious, not judgmental, but connecting first with your body, because we always tend to want to go into more spiritual realm, but it's often start with the wisdom of your own body. What your body is telling you. Where are you tight? Where are you, you know, always, you know, if I push you on the back and you're like falling, you know, which feet will go first? Will it be the left or the right? And then all of this gives you some, you know, some guidance about it. Otherwise, if you don't feel like connecting with your body yet, you prefer to connect with your mind, which is what often people prefer to do.
Yeah.
Just think about what do you feel more comfortable doing. So in your, for instance, in your fertility journey, are you someone who loves to take the action and listen to someone else telling you, oh, you need to do that, and let's, you know, trying to force things to make them happen? Or are you someone who is always, I'm trusting, you know I want a baby for 2021. I'm just like, yeah, it's going to happen. I'm surrendering to it. I'm allowing it to flow through and blah, blah, blah. So just the divine feminine. So are you fully all the time 100% in the divine feminine, which is not something that I recommend? Or are you fully 100% in the divine masculine? I'm going to have this baby in 2021. I'm going to force everything. I'm going to do all these things. I'm going to do and exhaust myself. So, you know, it's really about looking at your thought and your pattern and what you do regularly. Are you just out there, or are you inward? And it's about balancing the two again.
And so I think you would feel balanced. And I guess this is the work that I do, is when you're, like you were saying, you're taking inspired action towards having this baby, but you don't feel within yourself torn or like you're getting so many mixed messages, because you're actually tuning in with yourself and doing the action that feels inspired to you. So then you're balancing your masculine with your feminine. Would that be right?
Exactly. Yes, exactly. Yeah. And another practice, so as I've said, I have 3 circles. One is for the body, one is for the mind, and one is for the heart or the soul. The third way to connect with, are you in balance or imbalance, is how is your heart? Are you always giving from your heart, or are you allowing receiving? And depending on where you are, this is also something to be aware of. Like, it's fine to give, but what about receiving and allowing other to give to you and receive it with an open heart and being open to that, and, you know, receiving the help, receiving the support, receiving the guidance that may come from yourself as well, from your inner intuition and guidance. So really, the heart is also something that you can connect with. But start with the body would be my recommendations, and look at your thought pattern or the way you do things today. And then the heart could be another way as well.
I think that I see this really simply sometimes in those people that can't even receive a compliment.
Yes.
And you know that they're really blocked to that feminine and receiving, you know, and because that's something simple that, you know, isn't so out there for someone. But can you receive a compliment? Then I know there's massive resistance already going on.
And as you said it beautifully earlier, you make space within your womb, within yourself, to receive this baby, to receive this, whatever is your belief, you know, it can be to receive this soul, to receive this reincarnation, to receive this baby, to whatever it is that you believe in. You know that you will receive this baby when you're ready. You know, deep inside, and I'm not saying this that some women are not receiving the baby because, you know, they haven't done all the work that they need to do. But what I see in, you know, in the transformation of women, it's often the baby comes when you're ready to receive this baby. So just wonder and allow the journey that you're on to be your own journey and to go at your own path. There is not, as we said, in a ideal divine masculine 100% word, it would be like, okay, we go through this step and then this step and then this step and then boom, you have your baby. And it's exactly
That would
at
be
this
magic.
day, yeah, and it's exactly at this day that it will be born. No.
I also
Like,
wish I had a magic wand to help my clients, but unfortunately I don't. Yeah.
and we know that as well. If we think about the date your baby is born, you have a due date when you're pregnant, but how often is it happening that your baby is born on the due date? I think it's about only 20% of the babies that are born on the exact due date. I need to go back to look at the data, but I think it was what I've looked at when I was, pregnant of my first one. Everyone would ask me, what is your due date? And I was like, what does it represent? Because I feel she's going to be born a bit earlier and things like that. So just connect within yourself, and allow all of this guidance to flow through.
So I was talking to a client yesterday, and I just feel like this is relevant. She has a job in a very male-dominated business, and she's got a strategic role within that. So that really forces her a lot into this masculine way of being. How does someone like that balance that when the majority of their day they're having to be in that masculine space?
Yeah, it's a beautiful question, and I've definitely been in that position myself. You know a bit about my story, Bella, but I've been a strategy consultant for over 7 years, and worked.
Well, that's why I thought you'd be the perfect one to answer it.
Yes, and I've been working in a corporate, in big corporate, in strategy role as well, where it's heavily dominated by, the masculine energy, the divine masculine energy, the go, 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 the don't allow, the blah, blah, blah. And I think it's really important for her to bring awareness to that and find space within this day, which we may call the third space or whatever she calls it, but making space in her day to bring divine feminine into place. So it can be, okay, I'm going to, set up a meeting with myself for 15 minutes in the morning to just set an intention for the day ahead, put my hand on my heart, on my womb, and just like breathe in deeply and connect within, and then go in the divine masculine energy. And then after this meeting, set up a time for myself to cook mindfully, eat mindfully. It's all about setting some space within the day to space out the day and bring more of the feminine energy into the day. For me, I love yoga nidra as a way to lay down after lunch for 20 minutes and really recharge and, set a sankalpa, which is an intention, and really go back nourished and resourced for the rest of the day, especially when you are in corporate and, having this masculine energy probably
and this was
overactivated.
And that would be something that you would do when you were in corporate?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
I have time set in my calendar, and it doesn't have to be, an hour, 3 hours. It can be just intentional 5-15 minutes in your day where you do that. And you can also, openly share with, I discovered that actually openly sharing with my male or female colleagues who were falling in their divine masculine, the fact that let's start this meeting with a few deep breaths. Let's start with, being like opening our heart and listening with our heart about what we're going to talk about in this meeting, just bringing back everyone into, in tune with themselves and what's the bigger picture and what is really important, what really matters, so that you drop into this generative dialogue rather than being in this judgmental and do and go attitude that we may be all put on by the stress and the, the deliverable deadlines and whatever is happening in this environment. It's so important to bring back this divine feminine energy into it. And let's see each other as teacher and as our role to, shift the balance and, doing it differently. I think it's so important.
So does being in your feminine energy mean that you can't get things done?
No.
I know that, but I just thought I'd ask. Yeah, I wanted your viewpoint I wanted your viewpoint on it because, you know, I think that, you know, in the simplistic form, you think, oh, rest and receive and feminine energy and I'm quiet and things like that. And masculine, I've got my checklist and I'm do, and I'm all about the numbers and things like that. But I feel that you should be able to be in your feminine energy and look at numbers and be in your feminine energy and be a little bit
Definitely.
go as well.
Yes, definitely. It's not like, as I've said, I don't want you to be 100% in your divine feminine, 100% in your divine masculine. And when you are in your divine feminine, this is where you have creative guidance, creative downloads, things that are coming to you. And then intuitively, you're going to do them. You're going to make them happen. You're going to create them. But you create them from this place of full alignment, full receivingness, full, inspiring way of doing it. So then you create something that was not there a few minutes ago, and you create it from a true place of flow. This is like really something. So for instance, when we see our kids, I don't know, drawing something, or they're just doing it without looking at a picture or without looking at someone else or without being fearful of the judgment and so on. They are fully in tune with themselves. So you can create something right in your journal, for instance, would be for me something that really embodies a divine feminine creativity, is you write something and you trust and you allow this to flow through. So you can definitely do things in your divine feminine. It's not about just resting and filling your cup and so on. It's important to be, and when you are, you create something that is unique for yourself.
So, I mean, here's a question. What does it mean to be? Because I think people get hung up on that as well.
Yes. So what does it mean to be? It's, you don't have to, it's, you are, I am here, I don't need to say anything. I don't need to do anything. I am just me with my 4 different bodies in that place, holding space for this conversation and being fully present. So it's just about using all your senses, using your breath to connect with the present moment, and really be there and not thinking about something else that may happen or may not happen in the near future, or that happened in the past. Is really being here now with everything. To, I don't know what we're going to say next. I just know that we are here right now and having this conversation. So this is about being. It's just, here I am. I don't know how to say it more clearly. For me, it's like just,
okay, yeah,
I am.
I just want to, because I think some people get hung up on that too. Or how do I just be, like, what is that? Well, to me, like, that is the energy part. You could probably sense if you walked into a room with someone who was anxious, they wouldn't have to do or say anything, but you could sense their energy and they're being anxious, right? Or you could be in your feminine. You can walk into the presence of someone in their masculine energy, or like really in it, or really in their feminine, and you feel it. You feel the difference. I feel a little bit these days that people live in kind of more of a neutral state. And kind of, because I wanted to explore a little bit around relationships, and relationships, to have some dynamics and to have some chemistry, need a little bit of, well, the yin and the yang energy. And a lot of relationships can get quite stale, and that's because they don't necessarily have the polarity anymore. You don't have the masculine and the feminine. You have like both masculine or both feminine, and that's not necessarily, that doesn't mean same-sex relationship. It's just that maybe the woman's living more in her masculine and he's very masculine, and you just get 2 masculine energies that don't have that chemistry. Or you have the or vice versa, the male living more in his feminine, so you don't have that chemistry anymore, because you don't have like the magnets that, that attract. And even in same-sex relationships, you often have someone who's more in their feminine and one who's more in their masculine, to create the chemistry between them. what are your thoughts on all of that?
I think it's all about, as we said, bringing awareness to it. Like if you realize that in your relationship, you are, both always in a doing state, we have to, we should, let's blah, 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 then there is an imbalance created in your relationship. So what can you do to bring the balance back? What does it mean for you? Is it like your partner that needs to step more into the divine feminine energy, yourself needs to step more into the divine feminine energy, and just having, a non-violent conversation about it, and really bringing this back to a way or a state that you feel is more balanced for yourself. And definitely the dynamics that are happening when, a couple is going through fertility or having kids, or, like, you can sense an imbalance coming. So it will go either one way or the other. So how do you have really this awareness in place, and then how each of you can start bring this balance back? So for me, it's like, I see that often also in friendship or in dynamic in teams, or, it's not just in the relationships that you have.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I totally agree with you. It's like sometimes if you have someone that is fully in the divine masculine, what's going to happen is either you're going to go straight into that because it's easy, or you're going to go straight into the opposite because it's easier as well, rather than having a conversation and trying to find a balanced way to complement each other and to, work together towards the goals that you've set or the visions that you've set. So I totally agree with you. It's really a dynamics that we see within ourselves, but then also with the interactions that we have with other people. And as I've always said, first, notice the pattern, bring awareness to it, start a conversation, and then see what's best for you as an individual to bring this balance back. Is it, okay, so let's, if we go back to the relationships, the lover relationship, is it to plan a date out together and step into that space of, conversation and being, and not having an agenda, and just, letting this creation emerge? Or is it, okay, we really need to have a date night to plan, to organize, to set our vision, our intention? Like, what does it mean for this relationship moving forward in their fertility journey, or, love journey, whatever is the transformations that they're going through? It's such a good point, because it's true, we see it within us and outside of us as well. Yeah.
Well, I love that point, because sometimes a date night can be about like, what is the plan and what do we feel comfortable doing? And sometimes it's just about the courtship and reconnecting and things like that. Yeah. Yes. I love that. And I think both are totally important, because I think sometimes, not to stereotype, because I definitely know opposites, but men tend to be the ones that don't want to talk as much, and women tend to be the ones that want to talk more. And sometimes it's educating men that if they just have this small talk here, then they won't have this big blow up over here, where everything comes out, and then it's a very uncomfortable conversation. So actually keeping the dynamic and the balance flowing together by having like, okay, I respect that you don't want to talk now, but I respect that you do want to talk now, and finding that balance. So it's a kind of a give and receive situation. Because you can imagine on, a fertility journey that's not going well too, sex can become such a chore. And so that's why I wanted to explore that masculine, feminine polarity and the chemistry, because sometimes if we're just got the agenda, got the checklist, we're just living more in that masculine, we're push, then, just from the female point of view, saying you're scheduling in your husband for sex, like it's Wednesday at 10:05, everything feels very masculine. Well, that's not going to feel, there's not going to be very much chemistry in the bedroom going on, because you're both in your masculine energy then, and there's none of this receiving, none of this space to create, to to actually create that balance between the two of you. Yeah, I love that. I love
I
that.
love how you brought all of that into, a practical example and how this can be embraced and embodied. Beautiful.
Now, I had some little notes I was just having a look at, seeing if there's anything else I wanted to cover off. What would you say is like one, I know you've been talking about, notice things in your body, but is there one kind of really simple exercise that women can do to experience more of their feminine energy or embrace it more?
Yes. So something that I love to recommend, my client to do to really connect with their divine feminine power is to put their hand on their sacral, so which is below the navel, so the sacral chakra, which is below the navel, and put both your hand there, one on top of the other. Again, being curious, which hand do you put on top of the other? And is it the left hand, the right hand? Whatever you do, just bring awareness to that, non-judgmental. Okay, I put my left hand on top. Am I more guided by the divine feminine then, or I invite more the masculine energy? Whatever it is, put both your hand on top of one another and your sacral. And
what would that mean if you put your left hand on top?
It's probably that you're inviting more the divine feminine to guide you during that. Okay. And if you put your right hand, you're more invited the divine masculine to guide you within that, which means you may more be into your head rather than into your sacral or your heart. Again, it's okay. Just be curious. And
no, I was just curious because I just put my left hand on top and I was like, ooh. And I think it's probably because of this conversation. We're very much in it right now. So yeah.
Brings awareness. Yeah, same. I put my left hand on top. And then, standing up and doing infinite 8 with your sacral. So really moving. So you can do that seated and feeling your perineum moving into a bolster or your chair, or you can stand and, flex a bit your knee and just do that to really make beautiful shape of 8 and connect with your sensuality, with your inner womb, with your yourself, because your womb is really where we see the divine feminine, the goddess being embodied, because this is where you're gonna hold space for this baby, or you're gonna create. And even if you don't have a womb anymore, it's still a place that you can connect with. It still has energy. So really like doing the figure of 8 and really seeing, am I blocked somewhere? Am I, is it really fluid? Where am I blocked? And really allowing this movement little by little to unblock the energy and let the fluidity by doing figure of 8 like this. I'm doing it for you because we're on video. I'm sure the listener will be like, what is she talking about? But just like
yeah,
figure of 8 and this infinite circle, and just do it and see what's happening, and then it will definitely let the energy flow, basically, would be something that I'd recommend.
Yeah, I love that. And yeah, and it's probably to bring in anything into your life where you feel that more feminine energy. Like I often get people into that more creative space. Would you say that allows the feminine energy to come in as well?
Yes, definitely. When you are like creating something, I guess we got more and more disconnected to our feminine, because now we don't really create something with our hand, with our senses and so on. So it can be cooking, can be doing a bit of clay, or, going to the garden, just connecting with something with your hand and creating, or drawing, painting, whatever is your thing, or chanting, like connecting with the power of your voice, playing an instrument, like something that you are defining what it is, and no one has before you defined what it is, what it should be. It's just what emerged from you. Same thing with our baby, like we don't define, will they have brown eyes or blue eyes or green eyes? We don't know. It's a surprise. No. Of course, depending on your eyes, like, for sure that they're going to be brown if you have like both brown eyes, but just, it's just allowing the surprise of the creation to happen is really important, I'd say.
And I think it's not defining what creative is for you as well,
No.
because we often look at creative as, um, yeah, pottery or dancing or singing or whatever, and they can feel great. But sometimes, for me, I feel really creative making a spreadsheet. And I know that sounds very masculine, but it feels like very creative because I'm creating it. I'm doing this and it makes it it's like I'm actually feeling very feminine in that
Yeah.
space, even though
Yeah,
I'm
because you're
using my
not
brain.
creating. Yeah, because you're creating from the inside out rather than creating something from the outside, if that makes
Mm,
sense. It's like if you're creating a spreadsheet because you have to, and this is the examples that you have to follow, and this is a step, and this is blah, 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 you're only in the divine feminine. Whereas if you're creating from the inside, being like,
divine
I'm
masculine, you mean?
inspired. Yeah, divine masculine,
Yeah.
yes. Whereas if you're coming from the inside and being very inspired, I really want to create this spreadsheet and I want to, put this and that, and I'm so excited about it. And blah, blah. This is coming from a different angle. And this is
Mm-hmm.
what we are looking at. So it can definitely be a creation. Like for me, when I create, for instance, on Canva, some of the design or illustration
Mm-hmm.
for my own business, I am totally in my creative space. I love it. I just love
Mm.
choosing the colors and, and this is something that is, result oriented, but I don't start from a result oriented place. I start
Yeah.
from within, being like, oh, I feel so inspired to create this design today. I'm going to just go there and play a bit with the color and the design. And then boom, this is it. I like it. And I'm not going to second guess myself or look at someone else's work and be like, oh gosh, maybe I should. No, this is it. It's done.
Mm-hmm. And just coming back to, oh, well, actually two things, because, I wanted to talk about that too, because I think a lot of people think, oh, well, firstly, people mistake that the fact that they are very feminine because they wear a lot of dresses and earrings and things. But you can wear a lot of dresses and earrings and still be in your masculine energy a lot, right? And not be open to receiving. Um, and then, so I think sometimes people hear this feminine energy and they go, oh, well, I guess I got to wear more dresses now or something, or be a bit more girly. Um,
Mm,
and that's not necessarily the case at all.
yeah.
Would you say?
Yeah, I agree with you. It's more, again, you can be dressing very feminine or very masculine, but actually inside, being the opposite. What's really important is how do you accept yourself and how do you feel in your own skin and in your own body? And this, you're the only person knowing, and whatever you showcase outside is just a projection of someone else vision on yourself. It's more
Mm.
like, how do you feel? Do you feel very feminine? Do you love your body? Do you, massage yourself sensually? Do you put, oil? Do you take care of your skin? Do you love smelling essential oil? Like, how do you accept yourself as you are? And this is for me what's more important than anything else. And then this can materialize into the physical, what someone else will see, into wearing a beautiful dress or wearing a beautiful pants or whatever you're wearing. In the end, is just what comes from within. Again, it's always like tune in and then showcase, but
Mm-hmm.
always be mindful by tuning in before you showcase anything, rather than, oh, today I don't feel like wearing a dress, but I guess I'm very masculine, I'm going to wear a dress and put makeup on. No, this is not the way.
Yeah. I just, when you were talking, then I had a whole vision of the beach and the flowing waves and things like that. It was all very, very lovely. One thing I find often too with my clients is having a lot of issues, I guess, in the sacral area, with their uterus and things like that, whether it's PCOS or fibroids or endometriosis and even cervical cancer sometimes. Um, what do you think this is representative of? Because me, it shows resistances and blocks and whatever in that space, but I just wanted to hear about it from your point of view, maybe even from a chakra point of view or a feminine energy point of view. What are your thoughts on that?
So definitely, like the sacral chakra is representing your pleasure and your well-being, and all those kind of things. How do you allow them in your life, and how do you embody them in your life? So again, curiosity about the emotions that are encapsulated within the sacral chakra would be one thing. Like, do you have any relationships from the past that you need to heal, that you need to release, that you need to be curious about, that you need to investigate more? So really allowing that. And also the sacral area is connected to the element of water, which is your emotions. How much are you letting the emotions flow through your body? How much are you letting the water flow through your body? And we all know that when we carry a baby, it's like the placenta and all those kind of things are a lot of water energy in there. So really like allowing the water to flow, because all of that is in your sacral, and your goddess energy and your feminine power is in your womb. So it's really like allowing that to come into place would be something. So again, I don't want anyone to feel like, oh my gosh, this is why, or this is it, or no, it's more a journey of healing, a journey of acknowledging, a journey of being curious and taking the steps that feel right for you right now in alignment, and so that you can heal that space. The sacral chakra is so important for us, even more as women, when we want to step into motherhood, because this is where you're gonna allow the baby to be having a home. So bringing into place that. So you have so many practices to heal your sacral chakra. It can be chanting, it can be visualization, it can be drumming journey, it can be using some crystal or Reiki, or doing some yoga or Qigong. Whatever is the things that you connect with, you have a way to heal and a path to heal that. So just being curious, and then connecting with that space consciously, and bringing the right thing to help it heal. If you have a illness, or if you have if it's a physical illness, or if it's a mental illness, or psychological illness, or energetic illness, whatever it is, just allow it to heal gently, will be my recommendation.
I love that you were saying, I don't want anyone to think, oh, this is the thing, and now I've got to do this, and put that pressure on themselves. Because I think one of the first things that's so important that I help people to do is like take that judgment out of what you're doing and what you're thinking, and be curious and switch it around. And it's a really different way of living. It's like, you still might blow up at your husband for no reason, but then that's curious. What's going on with me? Why did I do that? And then you're able to look at it almost like a fly on the wall, a bit more objectively, and go, okay, yeah, I was really tired and these things happened and I was thinking this. And so in that moment I snapped, or, whatever it is, you're able then to start to turn around those patterns for yourself. But if you're just like not conscious of that and judging yourself and whatever, it's very hard then to turn those things around. But when you're curious of because what we do and how we are, like, it's so fascinating to me. It's like, wow, that's really interesting, the way the brain connects here to that, and our body connects there, and then that happens, and it's different for everyone. How two things connecting for one people can manifest in a completely different way than it does for somebody else. And so that's why I love that. This is not one size fits all. It's about being really curious about and connecting in with what works for you.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, and really what I love to say, it's like, that's why we have so many different approaches. It's all of them, I can connect all of them together now that I've explored a lot of modalities, and I bring them into my practice, Reiki, Qigong, yoga, Ayurveda, elemental alchemy, shamanism, everything is connected. You always have one key that connects all of them. It can be, a phase in your life, an element, a chakra, like all of them come together at some point. So choose the modalities that resonate with you and explore that modalities. That's why we have so many modalities. It's the beauty of it. It's like some of us will connect more with this philosophy, with this wisdom, with this approach. So go ahead, explore it, be curious about it, because we are definitely the ones that, you know, feel what we need. So connect back to that and trust it.
And I think that's the thing, if when you connect into what you resonate with, and then you go and do that 100% and are committed to that, that's going to have way more impact in your life than going, oh, I'll try a little bit of that and a little bit of that. No, I'm not sure if it's working, rather than actually checking in with yourself about what resonates and going forward with that and committing to it. That like kind of that wishy-washy in and out is what I think a lot of people trip themselves up on, rather than actually just committing to something that actually feels good. Because I don't think you can't really go wrong. Like if it feels good to you and it feels inspired, and then you take that action, you're not doing it wrong. A lot of people are so hung up on trying to, you know, I'm going to get it wrong, but there is no wrong. It's only really wrong if you're not really checking in with yourself and saying, does this feel good? Is this the right next step for me?
Yes. And really in any journey, and you know, the journeys that we're talking about today, which is about surrendering to the divine feminine and bringing this divine feminine back into balance with your divine masculine, it's not an overnight. It's not like taking a pills. Oh, good, now I am fully, you know, balanced and everything. No, it's, you know, it's about the journeys that you go through, and then all of this will unfold beautifully. So don't be scared of stepping into that. And when you start stepping into it, just surrender to the beauty that will unfold, and don't expect it to be one pill will fit everyone and will heal you from one day to the next. It's not, we're not delivering antibiotic here. We're more asking you to go on the journey, on your inner journey, your inner discovery journey, like Ulysse went, you know, in ancient Greece and just discovered all the thing about himself. You know, it's really about going into that journey and journeying within yourself and finding what feels right for you.
Well, I mean, I think their masculine, feminine energy is a lifelong journey, because sometimes you're going to find yourself out of balance around just even a moment or a thing or whatever, and just learning to come back into your balance. But the more you, I guess, are aware of it and can practice coming back into balance, the easier it's going to be. Like if 95% of your life, because you've practiced and you know, is in flow, it's going to feel great. And then you'll know how to switch that one thing. When you get triggered by something, or, you know, from something in your childhood, and you're like, oh no, I'm going to bring that back into balance now for myself. But when you're out of balance completely everywhere, then how are you going to bring yourself back into balance on this one thing that's, you know, a pretty major thing in your life? You know, having kids for women and for men as well. So many dads want to be dads and have that family environment as well.
Yes, it's beautiful.
So I could talk to you all day long. I really could, but I know you're a busy lady and you've got so many other people to serve as well. So I'd really love to just give you a platform for what you have going on at the moment, and what you can offer people. It is a little bit left field from fertility, but you have quite a few offerings that could actually help people in this space as well. So I'll just let you talk about what you have going on at the moment.
Oh, thank you so much for that. Thank you, Bella. I really enjoyed our conversation, and, you know, the way we co-created this dialogue. Beautiful. So at the moment, I have launched a space, a sacred space, which is called the Goddess Embodiment Sisterhood. It's a 7-month transformational journey to help women comes from a place of misalignment, you know, fully in their divine masculine and really burned out, or being, okay, I'm fully disconnected with who I am, I'm very lonely and overwhelmed and so on, to embrace and connect with their intuition, with their sacred feminine, and celebrate who they are for who they are, to bring more grace, more joy, more flow, and really start dancing to the beat of their own drum. You know, and definitely
have a little dance with you.
We are dancing at the moment. And definitely in the name Goddess Embodiment Sisterhood, it's really about embodying the learning. So every month we'll go through one step of the goddess methods that I've developed. So the first month around the G, around being grounded, around, you know, blending all the tools that I've mentioned, Reiki, shamanism, Ayurveda, you know, energy, crystal, and so on. And I will also welcome 7 guest speakers in this container, and it's limited to 7 women to really create this sense of sisterhood and supporting one another in the journey. At the moment, I have 3 sisters already signed up. So I still have, at the moment, as we are recording this, I have 4 spots available. So if anyone listening feel called to join, just check the page on my website, and it will probably be in the show note, so that you can see if it's aligned. You can just apply, and then you jump on a call to see if it's aligned. If it's something like you're not ready to commit on a 7-month journey, I also have a membership where every month I guide the women through new moon circles, so holding a sacred space for conversation, as well as some masterclass, some challenges around how to bring more balance into their life and really alchemize their selves. It's called the Essential Alchemy membership. So connecting with the beauty of the element and everything. So I really bring all of that into the membership. So those are,
and then what's got the kind of moon magic or
the moon magic
in there as well.
Yeah, the new moon circle, and really educating around the different spiritual practices that I apply myself in my life and learning from one another. It's a really beautiful container as well as a membership. And then if you want to work one-on-one with me, I also have one-on-one private coaching, but this is more open along the year. So yeah, different avenue to work together if anything that I said today resonated with you while you're listening.
Fabulous.
Thank you.
Okay, well, I think we'll wrap up there because you have to get on to serving all these other beautiful women, and I'll let people get on with their day. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Bella.
Thank you.